Good morning, students. In the previous class, we have seen various steps in the recombinant DNA technology as a method of genetic engineering. And later, we have studied tools of recombinant DNA technology or genetic engineering. And we have identified the various tools. And we have started the first tool, restriction endonuclease. And we have completed restriction endonucleases comes under a group of nucleases which are nothing but they are used to cut the DNA. Some nucleases will cut the DNA from their ends. Endonucleases cut the DNA in the center, especially at a particular region. That region is called palindromic sequence. It is also called a recognition sequence. It is also called restriction site for the activity of an enzyme. And restriction endonuclease action we have seen where it will cut Escherichia coli R1. It is an enzyme. This enzyme will act only on these sequences. What are these sequences? These are called palindromic sequence. Palindromic sequence. A palindromic sequence is that which will read a group of letters are here. They will read and give a word when read in opposite directions. Same word GAATTC in one direction. Opposite direction GAATTC. So for example, we have seen in the previous class Malayalam 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 and Madam DNA and a group of letters which will form a word. A group of letters form a word and this word will be give same meaning when read in opposite directions. Same word ANDMADAM DNA and Madam DNA. From the reverse ANDMADAM DNA and Madam DNA. So any word which can be read same when read in opposite direction is called palindromic sequence. So this is a restriction endonuclease enzyme and it is having its specific sequence. So if this sequence is present in any organism, plant, animal, bacteria, human being, if this sequence is present in the DNA, when we apply this enzyme, it will go and identify the same sequence and it will cut in such a way to make it cohesive. Here backbone, here backbone. This is called half. It is not cutting in the half. It is just away from the center, but between the same two bases. GA here also GA, it will cut. So if this much of DNA is a long molecule, if such sequences are present in here, when we apply this enzyme, it goes on cutting. So DNA will become fragments. In the same way, that's why they are called restriction endonuclease enzymes. And its action we have prepared in the last class. One recombinant DNA I have shown. Then we have seen diagrammatic representation of recombinant DNA. I have used one donor DNA molecule, donor or source DNA, a vector which is having source DNA or donor DNA. When restriction endonuclease same applied to both of these, it will cut, it will separate the pieces. This is the gene of interest. We want this gene which is here. When the same is used here, this round structure will open. It will become open like this. Now, this one and this one both will be joined by ligase enzyme, DNA ligase. Now, for identification, I am going to show you white colored. So, white color, this is red color. When we join, you will get a recombinant DNA, which is given in the page number 197 to the best of 196, 197. This recombinant DNA is nothing but a plasmid plus gene of interest, gene or a piece of DNA. So plasmid and gene of interest is called recombinant DNA. Now we can call this as vector. Vector means carrier. What it is carrying? This is carrying this gene. Where it is carrying this gene? We have to keep this in a host organism. Host is nothing but Escherichia coli. Before Escherichia coli is not having plasmid like this. It is having its own DNA, bacterial DNA. In its body, when we are going to inject this, it will occupy the place here like this. With the help of this enzyme, DNA dependent polymerase enzyme, it goes on multiplying in the host body. So now the concept is, whenever E. coli cell which we have taken earlier, it is not having plasmid, but after injection it has having so it is changed. This process of change is called transformation. Transformed bacterial cell. Transformation. Now this bacteria we are going to keep in a culture medium to grow, multiply. When we are going to keep this bacteria into culture medium, one bacterial cell will become 2, 2 will become 4. Here the concept is, whenever bacterial cell is dividing, this is also dividing, and also within this bacterium it is going to multiply independently. So in this bacteria it is going to become multiplied, multiplication, replication independently. That is what the ability of plasmid. That's why plasmid is taken as a vector, and it's the greatest discovery in the recombinant DNA technology. So when it is multiplying in the bacteria itself, when bacteria also dividing, along with the bacteria, it is also multiplying many times. It is having its own DNA. When it is here, it is multiplying. Again it is multiplying, goes on, based upon its capacity. Based upon its capacity, many more. Based upon the capacity, it is having its own DNA. This process of multiplication of a single gene into multiple, many copies, hundreds, thousands, this is called cloning. Cloning of gene of interest by producing a recombinant DNA with the help of a plasmid, which becomes a vector. It is carrying this gene in the host body. Host will show transformation. Transform means change from one form to other form. Earlier it is not having, now it is having difference. And cloning of a particular gene, hundreds of copies can be obtained. Cloning process. So, in the page number 197, they have given diagrammatic representation. Diagrammatic representation of rDNA technology. In rDNA technology, genetic engineering, this is first step. Before that, isolation of the DNA, cutting of the DNA, same restriction endonuclease, page number 198, first sentence, unless if you use the same restriction endonuclease, there is no chance of recombinant DNA technology. When you use the same restriction endonuclease on both the source DNA and the plasmid or vector, it is possible same sticky ends, cohesive ends will form, and easily we can join the foreign gene or piece of DNA process. Now, the second step, the first step is, again we have to repeat, as I told you earlier, the whole unit itself, same sentence will be repeated, same class will be repeated in different stages. Second step, separation of DNA. So we are studying various tools which are responsible for rDNA technology and the process of rDNA technology. The first tool what we have taken, restriction endonuclease we have taken. And what is its action? It will cut at a particular places. How many enzymes are there? 900 types of enzymes are there. 900 types of palindromic sequences are available, because each enzyme specific for a palindromic sequence. So what is a palindromic sequence? It is nothing but also called recognition sequence. Recognition sequence. What is recognition? This enzyme will recognize this in the total DNA, wherever it is present, this enzyme. And why it is called palindrome? Because its nature is like this. We can study in opposite, forward direction and backward direction, same meaning. And this is going to cut here, so it is also called restriction site. It is also called restriction site. Now, once we have utilized restriction endonuclease, we have studied, identified, like this we can prepare. After the use of restriction endonuclease, that is, DNA was made into segments, fragments. What is the next step? The tool or technique in the rDNA technology. Next technique is separation of DNA fragments by gel electrophoresis. Separation of DNA fragments. So we have taken a DNA from various sources, various DNA molecules, for example, and we applied this Escherichia coli R1 restriction endonuclease enzyme. So in these various DNAs, wherever these sequences are there, it is identified and made into pieces. And pieces, fragments may be of various lengths, what we have studied in Human Genome Project. Mini satellites, micro satellites. So various pieces of DNA are there, various fragments of DNA are available. Now, what we want to identify and take a particular gene fragment. To identify, separation of DNA fragments is necessary in gel electrophoresis. Gel electrophoresis is a device which is having electricity supply with 1, 2, 3, 4 into this, having cathode as negative charge and anode as positive charge and our DNA fragments are negatively charged particles. When they were dropped into various wells, they will move. In the first well, they are moving here. Second well, third well, fourth well. When scientists observed the matrix present in this electrophoretic plate, the matrix is made up of agarose gel, agar-agar. Agar-agar is a colloid, phycocolloid. It was extracted from seaweed, Gelidium and Gracilaria. In the first PUC, you might have studied in the algae, economic importance of the algae. Gelidium and Gracilaria, they are called red algae. These red algae are able to produce agar-agar phycocolloid, which is colloidal, porous in nature, having sieving action, porous. Whenever DNA fragments are put in the wells and electric force is applied to move them from cathode, from negative charge to positive charges. They were forced to move based upon their size. They will travel based upon their size. They will travel towards a particular charge anode, and they will appear. Small DNA fragments will be far away from the well. Large DNA fragments are near the well. So larger, near, smaller, farther. So this is separation of fragments. But here, my dear students, DNA is such a molecule, we cannot visualize it in the visible light. That too, it is impossible to see them with our naked eye. That's why to this agarose gel, we have given a chromogenic substance, coloring pigment, ethidium bromide. Ethidium bromide is a dye. If ethidium bromide is given, they will become colored. After that, we have to expose. After exposing to ultraviolet rays, normal visible light, no, exposing to ultraviolet rays, they appear orange colored bands. Orange colored DNA bands. So process of separation of DNA fragments after the application of restriction endonuclease enzyme. When restriction endonuclease enzyme is applied to the source DNA, it made into various parts, and we are going to choose whatever part, whatever fragment, whatever piece, whichever piece we want, or whichever gene said to be we want. So here, when they were separated and exposed to ultraviolet rays, they appear dark brown in color, orange in color. Now, this only after exposure to ultraviolet rays, they appear dark bands colored by ethidium bromide. Otherwise, agar-agar gel is colorless. It is colorless. Agarose gel, agar plus agarose pectin, both are present. That's why it is called agar-agar. A phycocolloid, semi-solid. After this, the step is we have to do recombinant DNA, a method of genetic engineering. So that particular piece of DNA which we want, that particular piece of DNA from the gel, agarose gel, it will be separated out. From the agarose gel, from the gel separating the piece of DNA, from the agarose gel separating the piece of DNA. So when we are going to cut it out by cutting with the help of a scalpel, with the help of a needle, with the help of a scalpel, some instrument, while we are taking by cutting from the gel, separating the piece of DNA by cutting out. So to the DNA, definitely some amount of gel will be found attached. It should be removed. Remove the gel. Now purified DNA piece or gene, a DNA piece encoding a gene, we are able to get. The process of this process from the electrophoretic gel plate, cutting out separation of a DNA piece and purification of DNA is called elution process. Straight question. What is elution? Elution is the name given to the process of separation of cutting out of a piece of DNA of interest, gene of interest from the gel plate and purify it. For what purpose? We are going to do recombinant DNA technology. We have to take this piece of DNA or gene as a desirable gene of interest. We want to make this to attach with a vector, a plasmid, to prepare a recombinant DNA. After that, we have to keep this in a host organism to multiply, to clone. So the process of recombinant DNA technology is first step, first tool, restriction endonuclease enzyme. It is going to make the fragments, and second, we are going to separate the fragments and selecting the purified DNA, not complete DNA, whichever part we want, whichever piece we want, which is thought to be gene, expressing some character. Now, page number 198, in the second paragraph or third paragraph, they have given elution. Elution. So, eluted or removed out, cutted out piece of DNA is used for further studies to join into a vector. So, next tool is vector. Let us see what are vectors. First, we have finished restriction endonuclease enzymes. Second, we have seen to get a isolation of DNA by fragments, separation of the fragments. Fragment separation and identifying, removing the piece of DNA. Tool, vector. Vectors are nothing but carrier. They are also called vehicles. What is a vector? Vector is also called carrier. What is a carrier? Carrier is also called vehicle. Whether it is a carrier or vehicle means which will take, which will carry something. What it is carrying? It is carrying the gene of interest which is obtained here by elution. This eluted out or purified DNA piece or gene is called gene of interest or desirable gene, or it is the passenger which is moving in the vector. So it is the vehicle which carrying the passenger. So the piece of gene is called passenger. Target, gene of interest, desirable gene, alien piece of DNA, target DNA. So various names are there, we will see. Vector or carrier or vehicles. See, generally it was observed that in bacterial cells, plasmids are present in some bacterial cells, not in all. Remember, in some bacterial cells, plasmids are present. These are small double-stranded DNA or extra DNA segments or extra chromosomal segments. So many names. So in some bacteria, plasmids are present. What are they? They are small, circular, double-stranded, circular, extra DNA segments or extra chromosomal segments having some genes. Approximately they carry 2% of the genes. And the most important property is they are capable of replicating independently in the bacteria. Autonomous replication, independent replication. What is meant by autonomously replicating or independently? Suppose, for example, this is a bacteria. In this bacteria, it is having its own DNA. It is having its own circular DNA. And this is extra DNA, which is called plasmid. For this plasmid to replicate, it doesn't depend upon DNA. It is not under the control of the DNA. It can definitely utilize the polymerase enzyme, DNA dependent polymerase of the body, but it is not controlling its activity. So this is called autonomously replicating or independently replicating. So within this body, it can replicate. 1 becomes 2. So 1 or 2 in this bacteria. Bacteria A. Let us see another bacteria. Bacteria B. Bacteria B. Here also it is having its own DNA and it is having its plasmid, but so many, up to 1 to 15 in some bacteria. So they are able to replicate and increase their number in a cell. Number of copies in a cell 1 or 2, number of copies in a cell from 1 to 115, or in some other bacteria the number of copies 15 to 100. So total many copy per cell. The number of copies, it is the capacity. It is the capacity of this plasmid to have more number of copies. Its capacity is only 15. Its capacity is only 1 or 2. What is this? This is the most important character. A plasmid is capable of independent replication in the Escherichia coli body. And we are going to search for such plasmids which can be used as vector. For example, if we want more copies of a gene, we want such a plasmid which is having more copy number per cell. For example, mobiles we are using nowadays, a mobile is having only 2 GB capacity. Based upon the interest of the, based upon the requirement of the person, he can purchase only 2 GB capacity mobile. Somebody may purchase 8 GB capacity, 16 GB, 32 GB, 64 GB. So based upon our requirement usage, based upon our capability of purchasing, we are using different. So it is having different features, more storage capacity, more features. How we are using? If we want more features and everything, we will go for a good mobile which is having more capacity, storage capacity, and more applicable features. In the same way, here also, when a person is going for rDNA technology, if he want to get more copy numbers of a gene per cell, he has to select a good vector which is having more copy number. So vectors are nothing but carriers. For example, plasmids which are present in bacterial cells are used as vectors. Which plasmids are used as vectors? The plasmids which are capable of more copy number, they were used as vectors. And our scientists understood the second vectors are bacteriophages. Phage are viruses which attack bacteria are called bacteriophages. This is a bacterial cell. It is having its own DNA, bacterial DNA. When it was attacked by a virus, when it is attacked by a phage, why we are calling this as phage? The virus which attack bacteria are called bacteriophages. When it attacks, it will send its DNA into the bacterial cell. This is called viral DNA. After some time back, we have studied earlier in our classes, and previously I have given my class. Once viral DNA enters into the bacterial cell, its capability, its ability is it will take control on the complete protein synthesis mechanism of the bacteria. How it is going to control the DNAs? What? Transcription and translation. This DNA, instead of producing its own proteins by transcription and translation, it starts producing its own viral particles. So many number of DNA, so many number of phages. So per cell copy number are more. So bacteriophages are also capable of replication and more copy number per cell, more copy number per cell. Hence, phages are also used as vectors. Phages are also used as so just now we have seen plasmids are used as vectors and phages, bacteriophages are also used as vectors. Here the concept is both are capable of replication, multiplying number in the host organism. In the host organism, this also will multiply more number of copies. This also will multiply more number of copies. This character is of importance in rDNA technology to clone a particular gene to get multiple of copies. Now, along with these two vectors, so many other types of vectors are there which are called plasmids, phasmids. bacterial artificial chromosomes, yeast artificial chromosomes, so many are there. But here only they mention a vector and the characteristic features of the vector. In this way, presently what biotechnology has increased, how it increased, now with the help of knowledge about the plasmids and the genes present in a plasmid, our scientists are able to construct, develop, synthesize artificially various types of plasmids, construction of plasmids, whichever. So how models are coming, various models, Samsung series, like that, Xiaomi series, various mobiles are there which are in the market, hundreds of varieties, based upon the interest, based upon the cost, based upon the utility, based upon the features human beings are using. In the same way, in the present day rDNA technology, in the market, our scientists have been constructed various types of vectors artificially constructed with maximum features in them. And the artificially constructed vectors, for the first time, which are called PUC plasmids, PUC 18, PUC 19, PUC 7, 8, 9. So every year changes are going on, they are changing. PUC means plasmid. P stands for plasmid, which was constructed in University of California. University of California. So PUC stands for plasmid, which was discovered or constructed in University of California, and various types 7, 8, 9, 11, 18, 17, 18, 19. Later, plasmid University of California 19. Later modified form, which is widely available and used in rDNA technology, genetic engineering. It is PBR 322. PBR 322 is a plasmid which is used as vector. Plasmid or vector. P plasmid. BR after Bolivar and Rodriguez. Plasmid, Bolivar and Rodriguez. These are the two scientists who constructed plasmid after Bolivar and Rodriguez, some number 322. PBR 322 is most widely used and accepted plasmid, constructed artificially synthesized plasmid. In this Bolivar and Rodriguez PBR 322, they used to ask, these two concepts are compulsory. Let us see the structure of PBR 322. A double-stranded structure it is having so many sites. By joining various sites, they have constructed this. here there is a place. This is one strand, another strand having complementarity. Tetracycline gene, ampicillin gene, CLA. So various are here. This is a constructed plasmid, PBr322. Here they have joined various cloning sites, for different enzymes. BAM, for example, this is the structure of PBr322. For example, what this BAM indicates? BAM, B stands for Bacillus amyloliquefaciens. Bacillus, B, genus name, AM, amyloliquefaciens. AM, H type of the bacteria and one serial number of this enzyme in that bacteria. Streptomyces S, Streptomyces S, AL, albus 1, PVU 2, Proteus vulgaris 2, Proteus vulgaris 1, Providentia stewarti, Providentia P, ST stewarti, Escherichia coli R1, Escherichia coli R1, CLA Caryophanon latum, CLA 1, Hind Haemophilus influenza, D, third enzyme, Haemophilus influenza. What are these? These are all various recognition sequences for different types of enzymes. For example, I want to take one gene of interest for rDNA technology. I will select this enzyme. Some other want, they will select some other site. So this is possibility of various places, depends upon the needs. Just now I have explained various types of mobiles are available, which are having different applications and features. Here, this is an area in this area is having some sequences, which is tetracycline gene is present in these sequences. Tetracycline resistant gene. Tetracycline resistant gene is present here. In this tetracycline resistant gene placed from here to here, There are two different sites. One site is for BAM H1 enzyme, another site is for SOL1 enzyme. Like that. Here, just about the RE site, ampicillin resistant gene is present. From here to here, ampicillin resistant gene is present. It is having different sites. Proteus vulgaris one site, Providentia stewarti another site. Let us take, this is the DNA molecule having several genes. For example, they have constructed a DNA by keeping one tetracycline resistant gene here and one ampicillin resistant gene here and one RE site compulsory. Without RE site, it cannot replicate. Replicating, controlling factors, the proteins which are responsible for the synthesis of this, whatever proteins are synthesized by this is the controlling factory. So various places are there. They have constructed this, an example of PBr 322. Now let us see characteristic features of an ideal vector. So they have given an example, PBr 322. In the PUC examinations, for the students, it is a 2-mark question. Generally, they used to ask, or as a split question, they may ask. Characters, generally a vector should have all these possibilities. And our question is, for recombinant DNA technology, it means by taking a gene, already we have taken. Which gene? Our gene of interest. Our desirable gene, a piece of DNA. By how we have used restriction endonuclease on a source DNA, it removed the pieces, we have separated the pieces, one piece by elution process we have removed. It is in our hand. Now we want this piece in multiple copies. How to get multiple copies? This has to be attached to a vector. What is a vector? Vector is nothing but a plasmid, a carrier. It will carry this gene, and after when we join this gene with the vector is called recombinant DNA. We are going to keep this in a bacterial host. In that host, it will multiply, clone. So here, for that purpose of cloning, we are going to discuss what are the characteristic features of an ideal vector. First character, a vector should have, an ideal vector should possess RE site. What is RE site? We have studied from replication previously. RE site is the sequences present in the DNA which initiates the process of replication. For replication, if a DNA has to replicate, it should possess RE site. If RE site is not there, it means no replication initiation, no chance of rDNA technology, no chance of multiplication of this gene of interest. So any gene has to be linked with the plasmid which is having a RE site. An ideal vector should possess RE site which is responsible for initiation of replication, and RE site is also responsible to control the copy number per cell. So the ability of a vector, whether it has to develop 10 copies or 20 copies or 50 copies or 100 copies or more, this ability is present associated with RE site. So RE sites, two beneficial things. One is it should be compulsory for replication or multiplication. Second, RE site control the copy number per cell. It controls copy number per cell. So the capacity of RE site 10. This RE site 20. Another RE site, another vector 50. Another vector 100. Another more than 100. So a scientist who is going for recombinant DNA, he will go for those RE sites which will produce more copy number per cell. So an ideal vector, first character ideal vector should have a RE site, and also that RE site which should have more copy number per cell. So we will see the remaining topic in the next class. This is compulsory, page number 199, first paragraph. Thorough with this. All the best.